Okay, this is something that I found a little odd. Not saying that this is 1,000% gonna happen, just a little odd. I found it odd that Sally, Jesse, Sarah, Raphael, Jessica Parker was doing Golden Globe nominations, I believe, with Taraji P. Henson. I don't know, it just seemed like they were odd pairing, especially because I don't recall Sarah Jessica Parker being nominated for Golden Globes, but yeah, I don't know her history. I don't recall it like that, but I just thought it was an odd pairing. So something said to me, I wonder if they're gonna get Taraji on this new updated Sex in the City thing, and this was just like a teaser tester to see, how they, partner up on screen. Just something I noticed, not saying that it's 1,000% true. So I noticed that Michelle Pfeiffer also made the news. She's also nominated, I believe, as well. And she made a reference to being interested in still playing Catwoman if the opportunity allowed itself. Not saying that this is going to happen, but why do I think that she's already going to be in that Flash movie with the multiverse and Michael Keaton as the elder Batman in the other multiverse and the such and such and the Ben Affleck and the this one and that one? Not saying it's going to happen, just saying. So, it has been very close, 2 months away from it being a year from the last podcast, I guess. I'm sorry. It's been 2 months from the year, brain fart, from it being a year from my last podcast regarding the movie studios and people, the studios trying to open up theaters and yada, 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 and them just being in denial of what was happening last year. So now we are in 2021 and a lot of things have changed. Certain things are in alignment with what I said, and they had to kind of play their hand and force the cards that, forced to play the cards that they were dealt with. And a few articles popped up that made me want to do this follow-up. One of them being, there was an article that read like Warner Brothers, did Warner Brothers / HBO Max move really kill movie going as we know it? And it went to describe how Warner Brothers they were going to roll out their films strictly on HBO Max, from starting with Wonder Woman basically through 2021, and it caused a bit of a frenzy, especially with filmmakers. Your boy Christopher Nolan had a tantrum, and they released Tenet, and it fizzled. So now he's basically, I guess, going to no longer do business with Warner Brothers. But I think that that's just temporary, especially when I'm about to delve into, and I guess, quote unquote, expose, or theorize on what I see happening. So based on that, and I'm sure that there've probably been like quiet meetings between studios that no one ever knows about and that are discussed, even though I know that they happen, especially when I was out at out in Cali for the I forget the name of it now. I'm so detached because I so have an indie mindset, so it's like I kind of close my mind off to that shenanigans. It's basically where all the deals go down, and you find out the realities that a lot of the distributors and studios, when you get there, they don't really want to be bothered. It's just a crock of shit. But they do, the one thing that I've heard repeatedly is that they go to these film festivals and they go to these gatherings where they pick up their films and stuff. The reason why they go also is to get together with friends that they haven't seen in a long time. So it's a time for them to party and bullshit, basically. And that's the facts. Anyhow, so now, based off the Warner Brother drop, last week, I see that Paramount Plus, now they released that they're going to start dropping their major releases 45 days after on 45 days on streaming after their theatrical releases. So it will open up in the theater, and then 45 days later, it will go on to streaming. And I believe it might be Universal. I think it's Universal. They have a 30-day window, but that's neither here nor there. Side note, in my previous post, I did mention that I was wondering why AMC did not have their own streaming platform. In fact, I found out that they did. And I guess that they just weren't ready for, the shitstorm of last year. And sometimes if you don't have your cards lined up, you can have a site that could basically crash on you. And I've also realized that a number of high-end streaming sites like Netflix, they use servers that are attached to Amazon. So I don't know what AMC's deal is. It is what it is. I'm sure they've probably smoothed things out, but I mean, I'm sure, we know that their theaters are taking a bath. I just wanted to add that in. So now, back to Paramount Plus and the other studios. So yeah, Paramount, they're offering the 45-day window after theatrical release, Mission Impossible, Quiet Place, their other, projects that are coming out, right? And it just made me, just chuckle, like, okay, I see things are coming to pass. Then I see another article, CNN, after a while, 2020, all bets are off this year on the streaming wars. They predicted that this was going to be the beginning of the streaming wars, and, they weren't really prepared for what happened last year, so it kind of forced hands, and people thought that Netflix was going to get their butt kicks, and actually they saw subscribers go up to 200 million, and I don't understand why you would be surprised, because people were already used to Netflix. They weren't used to all of these new streamers. I'm just going to call them new streamers, such as Disney Plus, but people have adapted. Basically, the studios have adapted. And the one that basically made me go, I should do a follow-up, is the article about Paramount Plus reaching 30 million subscribers. And they hadn't even opened up, because which was CBS Access, is now Paramount Plus. And I don't know if it's relaunching as I'm speaking today, or if it's Friday. It is what it is. It's neither here nor there, but it was the fact that when I saw this, it spoke to me, and it just got me thinking about the whole Warner Brothers thing, because they always relate all these things together. So I started to do a deeper dive as this follow-up. And as I delved into this, I always I've said it before, and I say it again. I told you that there was going to be a lot of lying going on. And it's usually about the numbers that you're never going to see. And I believe that the studios officially have smartened up to what Netflix was doing, because there were people complaining when Netflix, they were winning awards, and of course by other studios, crying about how Netflix, they don't release their numbers and things of that nature. When I mean by numbers, how many people viewed a certain amount of times, Daredevil or whatever, show they have Stranger Things, or if they have a movie on, or Dave Chappelle comedy special or something to that effect. They'll just tell you, oh, this is our highest rated show and still is our highest rated, most watched, whatever, buzzwords. But they never really give you the numbers. And this, once again, is another form of hiding that information. You don't want that information to go out. So when I, look back at the previous episode with the line, this is, like I said, in terms of the numbers, they're never going to tell you the numbers. So when you have all of these directors going crazy regarding how could you do this? This isn't what I signed up with Warner Brothers, and having temper tantrums and all this other stuff. The Warner Brothers article did also mention that they were going to go back to the table with certain filmmakers, let's say the Wachowskis, and I don't know how to pronounce the filmmaker's name, but the director of the new Dune that's coming out. And with actors as well, as far as I don't know who has profit points and things of that nature, but they're going to go back to the bargaining table and renegotiate these things. And I guess, this is a learning curve still as they forecast their numbers. I bring this all up to say that I was explaining to a few people a while ago. The only reason when you see companies do certain things like this, they're going to where the money is. They are going to where the money is. They know that there is money. Even with Netflix, they just couldn't really break it down as to, all right, how they're making their money and how they're able to do these shows and still did this and they're reporting this and it's just from the stocks, or like what is this and how are they so profitable. And I believe that the studios have cracked that nut. They also realize that they do not need the AMCs as much as the AMC and Regal and all those others thought that they did, and the power has now thus switched back into their hands, which was also the reason why you heard rumblings of certain studios looking to buy. I think it was Netflix was looking at considering buying AMC. Don't know if that's truthful, but just the fact that that's out there, it shows you that, hey, we can buy your studio. It is what it is. And I'm sure people might have complained. I mean, as far as studios, the competition might have complained. But let's just get to the straight facts. I did some digging and I wanted to look at the numbers currently. This is March 2021. These numbers can change as I'm speaking. And with the previous stated, with, knowing where the money is, I see now why Warner Brothers is rocking with releasing all these films strictly on Max. I'm not sure if that's going to be completely locked in. Things could change at any point in time. Like with Paramount. Paramount's doing theatrical, I guess, to keep up their relationships. And then they're going to go streaming, as I stated. So I'm just going to go with the numbers. So Paramount Plus, they have 30 million subscribers, right? And they are currently charging $4.99 a month. Disney Plus is closing in on 100 million subs. They have 94.9, it's 95 million. Actually, I thought I just read that it might have been 96 million. So let's say 96 million at $12.99 a month. Netflix increased and they have 203 million customers at $18 per month. And this also, watching their numbers go up, it also justifies why they felt comfortable about raising their prices. Apple Plus 33.6 million customers at $4.99 per month. Amazon Prime has 150 million customers at $9.99. I should just round these figures out. HBO Max / Warner Brothers has 37.7 million subscribers at $14.99 per month. Hulu, $35.4 million. And I'm just going to go with their lowest subscription rate, which is $5.99 per month. And they have a premium, which is $12 per month. Peacock, which is new, they have 33 million users at $4.99 per month. Now, from my research, they can't tell how many people are completely paid and how many people are free users. I put these figures together. And if you recall, HBO Max, they released Wonder Woman in December through HBO Max, right? And Justice League is about to drop. And now Wonder Woman is now available to rent for 48 hours on places such as Amazon, right? So, let's do some creative accounting, as they say in the biz, okay? So, let's just say HBO Max has 20 million subs, and all year round, that's $14.99 per month. It's 20. I'm cutting it down outside of 37. I'm saying these are 20 million people that are going to be committed throughout the entire year. All these figures that I release from users, subscribers, customers that are going to be committed throughout the whole year. So follow me along. So 20 million people subscribe yearly to HBO Max, committed for $14.15 a month. That's $299 million. $299,800,000 to be exact. So we're just going to say 299, rounded off to $300 million per month. Multiply that by 12 months. 3.6, I rounded that off. $3.6 billion per year. Okay? Now, let's say Warner Brothers released 10 films theatrically, right? And I know that's high for what I'm about to say. And they all made $175 million at the box office. I know people are like, that's impossible. How are you gonna get so lucky? All right. If I say Disney, they get lucky. Okay. So, and Warner Brothers, they have some pretty big tentpole films that are dropping. We'll get to that later. So Warner Brothers releases 10 films theatrically, and they all make $175 million at the box office in the U.S. only, just in the U.S., domestically here. That is between $1.7 and $1.8 billion for 2021. So now, I go to myself, I ask myself, I look in the mirror, and then I say, self, which number is higher? The HBO Max number at 3.6 bill? Or the theatrical number with 10 films that we lucked up this year, and I made 1.8 billion for that year? I'll wait. So now, Wonder Woman, as I stated, is now available to rent on Amazon. It's $20 to rent. So, Amazon, I said what they have, going back to my notes, so bear with me, alright. Amazon has 150 million subscribers. right? And let's say 7 million of those Amazon Prime members throughout the entire year. I'm going to repeat that again for the cheap seats. Throughout the entire year of 2021, okay, they all rent, from that 7 million people, they all rent Wonder Woman 1984 for $20. My math shows that's $140 million for Amazon, I believe. I don't know what they cut, but what they cut in with. They probably already paid for the rights, so yeah, $140 million for Amazon. So now, Amazon Prime, they have 150 million customers with a $9.99 per month fee. You do the math, that is $1.5 billion per month. Multiply that by 12 months, $18 billion for Amazon. So now you throw in the little extras, which is the number that I just told you for Wonder Woman, $140 million. That's just for Wonder Woman. So now let's multiply that 140 by 5 Warner Brothers releases that they license over to Amazon throughout the year. This, of course, being their big tent pole films I'm talking about, because I know Warner's are going to release a lot of films. I'm talking about these 5 that they're predicting to be their biggest films, or they're going to be their biggest films for the year. Also at $20. That is $700 million in rentals. Okay, so let's just say Warner Brothers, they release. We're still going to go. I'm going to go with 5 now, because they, like I said, they had a whole bunch of films. They have a number of films that's on their blotter to drop this year. So I'm going to go with 5 big ones: Matrix 4, Suicide Squad 2, the LeBron James Space Jam, A New Legacy, because that's a kid's film, The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, and Dune. So let's just say, and Dune, I'm a little shaky on that because I wasn't the biggest Blade Runner fan, but it did some numbers. So Warner Brothers, they released these 5 new releases, right? And they each go on to gross 140 million. Remember, this is theory. 140 million throughout the entire year. That would also give Warner Brothers 700. Am I doing my math right? $700 billion. Okay, I'm going crazy. $700 billion. I'm laughing at myself. I'm sorry. That's $700 million. I'm sorry. $700 million. I knew something was off. $700 million. So they would make $700 million off of those 5 films if they all happen to gross $140 million each. It could happen because Disney had a number of films that all went to gross $1 billion in 2019. So this could happen. I bring this all up to say, which numbers are bigger? The theatrical run for those 5 films that happen to gross 140 each, which make in $700 million in total, for all those films for the year 2021, or the monthly subscriptions from those committed 20 million customers that stayed on throughout the year to HBO Max. So that's 20 out of the 37 million that they claim they have. 20 million of those people stay on as customers, which gave me earlier 1.8 billion from just the customers that are subscribed to HBO Max. Which number is bigger? I'll wait. So, when I say they hide the numbers, this is what I'm talking about. So when I read that they're going to eventually go back to the table with the directors and the producers and the actors to reconfigure those contracts regarding how much they're going to get paid in their end residuals, let's look at the math in the HBO Max numbers, and keep in mind that's 20 million that I said that are committed, 37 million that they have that are actually signed. So that number grows. If that 37 million, let's just say there's a drop off of 33 million subscribers. But then again, what happens with Netflix, who went up to 200 million? What happens when HBO Max, let's say by the end of the year, they hit 75 million customers? And I'm going to say we're going to go with 65 million that stay committed customers for the year. Now, keep in mind, because you get people that go through money, aches and pains, so they'll be signed to Netflix or Warner Brothers or HBO Max. Then they'll unsubscribe. Then they'll come back. Oh my God, the new season of whatever. Okay, let me jump back on it. And, it ebbs and flows. But let's say you have 65 million committed customers for that year out of the 75 that I just said, right? Remember, this is all theory. That comes up to, now multiplied by $14.99, $974 million per month. Do the math by 12 months, $11.6 billion. So, which figures are higher? The theatricals that I said that come in at 700 million? Or the subscriber base with 65 million out of that 75, or theorized, multiplied by 12 months comes out to $11.6 billion. You do the math. Where the money is hidden. I know what I'm talking about because this was the same thing with the direct to video market, which is why what they used to do is take big shits on the direct to video market to avoid people from going to the direct to video market, so that you have to feel like you have to go through Warner Brothers. So that, don't you want to have your name in lights? Don't you want to be in the AMCs and have your movies all across the world and have everyone look at it? When you're streaming, it's all across the world. If you're independent, you can decide when you want to go across the globe. You know what I'm saying? If I sell my film to Amazon, they might be able to decide, or just the rights rather, to Amazon, they can decide when they want to push my film across the globe. You know what I mean? So these are the figures, the hidden figures that I'm talking about when I say there's going to be lying. That also goes along with prior, which, them lying about the numbers to get more butts and seats. This way, all they got to do is play it now, kind of like Netflix. This is theory, but I knew from my research that Wonder Woman, they were charging $20. I did that research, so I just did some math and just put theory together. So now imagine, them not reporting how many sales they made. Amazon doesn't have to report how many sales they made from Wonder Woman rentals. Neither does Warner Brothers, because Netflix isn't doing it. the hidden money. This is what I'm talking about. So now they found out, they smartened up, and they were probably smart for a few years now. They just didn't want to push the button because they, might have been able to double dip. We get one stream from theatrical, we get another stream from streaming, and then we get another smaller stream from people that still buy Blu-ray, and a smaller stream from people that still buy DVDs. Where's the money hidden? So when you hear about these lawsuits, Clooney, Pitt, Tarantino going up against Slimestein, who's sitting in jail over some bread that he owes them, that their company owes them, from slipping and sliding and creative accounting. Now you see somebody creative accounting, which is what I just did. Take out your calculators, run this back, play it in slow motion, and put the numbers down. If I'm incorrect, please feel free to comment, because the numbers could be off, but they're not going to be off by that much. They're not going to be off by that much. Maybe a 0. I don't think so, because I use a calculator. So that's my follow-up to last year's commentary on what I thought was going to happen. Some of it we've seen, and that's my story. I'm sticking to it. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Feel free to go back and listen to the previous episode that I did based on this. I guess I'll call it part 2 for right now. And my lockdown with Amelia Nemeth, my podcast I did with that young lady. It's the second time she and I get to talk, and she's giving me the rundown on the theater aspect and how they've been affected from 2020. So it's a very, very interesting build. So I thank you once again, and I shall be chatting with you sooner than what we thought. I hope. Later.